Hi, this is Lough Haggquist, and you're listening to Pam and Dawn.
Hello, and welcome to the special edition of Christmas MuVies Spotlight. I'm your host, Dawn Mack, and I'm here with my friend and colleague and co-host, Pam. Hey, Pam, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear you're doing wonderful. I'm doing good as well. All right, we've got a great big show for you today. Today, Pam and I are excited to bring you our special interview with the beautiful and incredibly talented Lough Haggquist.
Catherine stars in the Hallmark Channel original movie, Jingle Around the Clock, which premieres Saturday, December 22nd at 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
And we are so excited and honored to bring you our interview with Lough Haggquist.
Enjoy the show. Well, we'll go ahead and get started, and thank you again from myself for calling in. We really appreciate taking the time to speak with us.
Happy to.
And we always like to start out with a fun question, and fun means many different things. Most of the time, interesting, sometimes funny.
Okay.
We would love to know who or what inspired you to become an actress.
Oh, wow. I would say the person who had the most influence on me becoming an actress was my kindergarten teacher, because I started reading when I was really little. And so by the time I got into kindergarten, I was able to tell stories to the class. And so the teacher would let me read the story during story time. And I remember just the rush of having all the attention while I was reading the words, and then when I would turn the picture book around and everyone wanted to see, and I just thought, it was just so great being able to tell the story. And so that was sort of where the roots were planted. And my father's a United Church minister, and so I also saw when he would tell stories to the kids during that portion of the service, just how stories could educate, and stories could impart lessons, and stories brought everyone's focus together. And I think those were the two influences that really got me interested in learning more about how that was done. I didn't think about it seriously as a career till I was much older, because growing up in small towns in Canada, I didn't know any actors. But once I sort of made friends with some, that really sort of was the alignment of those early seeds planted and the possibility for actually pursuing it.
Well, and that could have inspired you to become an author, too. I mean, it's funny how life takes its turns and you ended up in front of the camera. Yeah,
well, it's interesting, because I think the path that I found effective storytelling was really required was law. I was seriously considering becoming a lawyer for a long time, and I discovered that is a common story for many who become actors, that the power of oratory is seen to be very, very important in law, and a lot of us tend to be headed in that direction. It's a thin line between arguing and storytelling. So
right.
I think that's sort of so I think that's where what we share is common DNA.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even when you're watching real-life lawyers, you can't help but see how there's acting involved in it, because they want to stress their point, and to do that, I think it takes a bit of acting to do it. So
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. I think that's why there's so many legal dramas, too, because you're seeing storytellers telling the story as part of the plot, and I think that's all very much intertwined and connected.
Exactly, yes. I totally agree with that. Now, with your successful career being on Supernatural, Once Upon a Time, iZombie, Continuum, and you've earned your 125th Professional Film and Television Acting Credit. First of all, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You have founded biz.net, which offers film, television, and theater books to industry professionals. Could you tell us a little bit more about what the books offer?
Sure. We started bizbooks in 1996, and we were a bricks and mortar store in the historic part of Vancouver called Gastown. And I had been very fortunate when I had started my career as an actor. I got involved in the Actors Union in BC, and because I figured that's where the business was done. And if I was going to be spending time learning my craft as an actor, I should also find out as much as I could about the business side as well, if I was going to claim the title of professional. So in doing that, I was given opportunities to travel on behalf of the union to other production centers, Los Angeles, New York, Toronto, and I became very aware of the fact that all of those cities had resources available to people who were curious about the industry, and that those resources were affordable ways to learn about what might possibly become a career. And Vancouver didn't have that. And so in 1996, my husband and I opened BizBooks. And then in 2010, real estate prices being what they are, we discovered that more and more of our client-based customers were ordering books from us, and we were mailing them out. And so we took a look at the numbers and decided that the evolution of the store was going to be online and on location. So currently, bizbooks.net serves people in the film, television, and theater communities, and we ship all over the world. And it's been really... It was a tough transition because you get so attached to a space and all the memories within it, but it's the time we've claimed back by not having to operate a space has allowed us to wildly expand our stock selection and to market to people all over the world and to attend more events that are in support of people who want to learn more about this. So we do a lot of teachers' conferences and theater openings and all sorts of things like that, and it's been a really great adventure. We've met some wonderful people through it, and we hope that we've been able to provide people tools to get them involved in these creative industries as well.
Well, there are advantages to having brick and mortars, but I tell you, in this day and age that we live in, the internet is the way to go. If you're going to market a business, if you're going to have a business, because it's so accessible and it just makes things so much easier and streamlined for across the board for anything that you want to do. And of course, as you mentioned, just giving you the freedom to be able to do more outside of the box, than being tied to a brick and mortar. So, and that's brilliant. It sounds like it served you very well and is very successful.
Well, it's been really wonderful because it's been the ability to balance it while I'm shooting. My husband and I are able to sort of divide up the duties to get the orders filled and sent off to people or ordered, and it has been really a great way to get some balance back into all the things that we do.
Well, speaking of shooting, you have played so many different characters throughout your career, and I love just the type of character that you play in so many different roles. It's just so
Thank
strong,
you.
and but of all the many different characters you have portrayed, which one would you say you can most closely relate to?
Oh, most closely relate to. I like to think of myself as more like the fairy godmother on Once Upon a Time, but I think my husband might say I'm a little bit more like Nora in Continuum, where I'm a little bit more focused and get a little bit more down to business all the time. But yeah, I'm probably a hybrid between those two. I think there's things I love about both of those characters. It was really I had the opportunity to go to a fan convention in London because of the fairy godmother character, and it was just such a treat to get to meet the community of fans there and to hear how they've traveled numerous cities to meet members of the cast and how meaningful our stories were to them. Some of them had serious illnesses, and they found that they just found the escapism to Once Upon a Time just gave them a reprieve from what was going on in their day-to-day lives, and to connect to those stories being so meaningful to people who were having some challenges. I thought I was really grateful for that opportunity. So the fairy godmother, though not a huge role, is one of the most meaningful I've done for that reason. Nora from Continuum was meaningful for another reason, because I got to spend 3 seasons with her. And to get to spend that sort of time watching what happens and developing a story that way was a really neat opportunity as well. So those two, I think I identify with both internally and externally. They were great rides to be on, as well as just brought a lot of meaning to me personally.
Well, you have a lot of fans, and there are many fans of Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, Aurora Teagarden Mysteries, a series, and you're going to be on one next year, A Clue to Kill. What
yes,
do
that's
you
the latest
love
one we've done.
What do you love about doing these mysteries?
Oh, well, these mysteries are fun for a number of reasons, chief among them being Candace Cameron Bure. She is so much fun to work with, and she is so beloved by her cast and crew, and so going to work is like just showing up at the next installment of the party. She's very focused and professional, but she also recognizes that we're here to have a good time and to bring people a good time, and so there's an atmosphere of fun and humor on the set, and you know that you're building something with a family that other families are going to enjoy, and I think that's a neat aspect. Not everything that I've worked on is suitable for the entire family to enjoy together, and it's really nice knowing that you're having that sort of feeling as you create something that can go forward in that way. And you know, they've been very loyal. I'm working for Hallmark has been a real treat in that they tend to really create a family and take care of those of us who they bring in, whether it's for a day or for repeated episodes. I've been really loving my time with the Aurora Teagarden Mysteries, and it's fun to have started on one and have that character evolve into becoming part of the Real Murders Club and getting to participate in solving the mysteries has been a real fun aspect of the job.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Dawn and I love the most about Hallmark is that they are family-oriented movies and series that we can sit down and, watch with our whole family. So that makes a big difference. There's not a lot out there these days that, anybody from any age can watch at the same time. So that's a plus.
It is, and it's nice too, because you can, when people want to say, well, what have you been in? It's nice to know that there's something safe that you can say, oh, watch this. You'll have fun, and you can watch whoever's around and just go for the ride and enjoy the storytelling.
Exactly. Now, also next year you'll be in 2 films, Endless and Love and Oatmeal. I'm really curious about that Love and Oatmeal. Are you able to tell us a little bit about them and your characters?
Love and Oatmeal is a story about a challenging relationship between a brother and sister and sort of how they are navigating that for a variety of reasons. I play the therapist of the sister, and so who's played by Lola Kirk, and so in my relationship with her, I also have to have some encounters with her brother, played by Ben Platt, and it's a story about how they navigate their challenging relationship.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one. What about Endless?
In Endless, I play the mother of Alexandra Shipp, who you may know from the X-Men movies, and she and Nicholas Hamilton are in a relationship that is met with some tragedy, and as her mom, I'm trying to help her cope with the aftermath as they figure out how to deal with what has befallen them. I'm not sure I mean, I know on IMDb they give away a lot of the spoilers, but or not spoilers, but plot points but I'm always very careful to try and not give away too much. But I'm very excited about it. I think that as an actor, I got some really great opportunities to be challenged in this role, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It was a really great shoot. We were all away on location, which was also a different dynamic. I was filming in the beautiful city of Kelowna, British Columbia, which is right in the heart of our wine country, and it was just a really neat opportunity to sort of be away with everyone and to sort of meet up to work on our takes on the story. So it was really a great adventure, and I'm really happy with what I've heard so far and seen so far. So I'm really looking forward to that one being released.
It does sound very exciting. And speaking of challenging roles, what would you consider the role that has challenged you the most as an actor?
The role that has challenged me the most as an actor. I think the first episode of Continuum I did. I think our first scene that I had was sort of almost a 4-page monologue for me, because I'm interrogating her, and that was, yes, I think that was probably one of my most challenging roles to do. It was a pretty major introductory scene, and it kind of set the tone in terms of how we got along, or didn't, and initially. So that, yeah, I think that would be. I'm trying to think. I never had that question asked before. It was also kind of, it was also kind of challenging. Here's another reason it was challenging, because it was such an adversarial scene. When I arrived on set, you're always wanting to sort of figure out the lay of the land and get to know the other actors, especially the actors for whom that is their ongoing job. And so I was introduced to Rachel, but because of the way she works and because of the length of the scene and what we had to bring to that scene, she very, very politely made it clear that we wouldn't be able to talk until afterwards. And so it was kind of a strange tone to be set. I totally understood it, but it was sort of like it had added a degree of anxiety to it, just because you're like, oh, okay, right. It's not that she doesn't want to connect; it's that it's better for the role. But you always sort of wonder, will it be okay on the other side? But yeah, she was just lovely, and we stayed in contact from working on the show, and it was great. But it was sort of like, oh right, we're supposed to not like each other at all for the first scene, so we better protect that.
Well, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to go look that up, because I want to see you doing that. Only because everything I've ever seen you do, you have such a strength of character that comes through on screen. And I think to myself, that is the gutsiest lady ever. I mean, just when I've seen you on Hallmark, I've seen you in other things. I mean, you bring something to every role that is just very powerful. It's very transcendent, and I think it's a great connector to the audience, that it's very believable. Yeah, and so I just love when I know you're going to be on, especially on Hallmark, because I'm a huge fan. It's like, oh my gosh, I wonder what she's going to bring to this role. I wonder what she's doing in this movie. So yeah, and so speaking of which is kind of my segue into my next question. We are ecstatic to see you in Jingle Around the Clock coming up on December 22nd. And what can you share with us about your character and the story without giving too much away?
Well, in Jingle Around the Clock, I play a woman who runs an advertising agency, and one of my favorite employees, one of my proteges, is being given an opportunity to assist in a major campaign, but that creates, obviously, some challenges for her to navigate, given that Christmas is a busy time of the year and she had some other plans. So I love this role in that it portrays women as mentor and mentee and collaborative and supportive, but also in the workplace we got to get stuff done. So the story really revolves around how she's able to sort out making the priorities and deciding which direction she's going to go, given all the things pulling at her at a very busy time of the year. So yeah.
Well, and I have to say, just from your description just then, you're going to be awesome in this. I could see it now, how it's going to come through on screen. It's going to be great, and I just love you in that kind of role. Not to stereotype you, but you are so strong in what you bring to everything you do, and I really think it's just such a good meld for the whole cast when you can bring something like that and contribute. And so I thoroughly enjoy seeing you. I can't wait for this movie just to see how it's going to all play out and things of that nature. So it should be a very good one from what I've seen of the previews.
We had a lot of fun making it. Typically, when we're working on Christmas movies, it can happen in July. The joke around Vancouver is, we've just hit 100 degrees, and so therefore it's time to get out the wool sweaters so we can make a Christmas movie. And what was really fun about working on Jingle Around the Clock was that we were actually filming very close to American Thanksgiving. So the sort of holiday feeling was in the air just in general, and then we were getting to sort of play up the fact that we were working on Christmas. So people were already had started their shopping, and we'd be talking on breaks about holiday plans, and it was actually really festive to be working on something so festive. So it was
definitely.
a particularly fun one to do because we weren't having to generate holiday excitement. We were already in the throes of it. So.
Well, speaking of festive, before we wrap up, we would like to play a little 5-question lightning round with you. It's all Christmas related, and it's just 5 questions. There's no wrong answers, just the first thing that comes to mind. There's no, we call it a lightning round, but it can be as long as you want it to be. So if your game, we'll play, and then we'll wrap this up and be good to go. So the first question is favorite Christmas tradition. Hello?
Did we lose? Oh, her call dropped.
Oh.
I'm sure she'll be calling right back. Yep, there we go.
Oh.
Hold on.
I don't know what happened.
We lost you.
And I found my way back. I'm very sorry about that.
I was like, oh no. I don't know, what did you hear last?
What I heard last was talking about Jingle Around the Clock. Sorry, everything started to go sideways when I started to panic and realized that the phone had cut off.
It's no problem. I was saying that before we wrap up, we always like to play a 5-question lightning round, and this is just all Christmas related. We just ask 5 questions about Christmas. You answer. There's no time limit. We just call it a lightning round because it just sounds good. But
okay.
It can be as long or as short as you want. There's no wrong answers. And I asked you, I said, and if your game, we'll play it. I never heard anything. And then
you must have thought I ran away. It's like, no.
I'm just joking. that was the technology coming out, right? You just said, no, I'm not playing. And click.
That was not. That honestly was not what happened. But I'm very excited to play this game. Now I have to have really good answers just to make up for that. So.
Oh, that's okay. All right. So the first question is your favorite Christmas tradition.
My favorite Christmas tradition, there's certain movies that we watch every year. So it's a toss-up between watching my favorite Christmas movies, which involve The Thin Man is one that my husband and I watch every year. As a family, we always watch The Muppet Christmas Carol and Scrooged and Christmas Story. And my husband and I also really like The Ref because it's kind of a cheeky Christmas one. But we added The Thin Man lately, which is a classic old movie, William Powell and Myrna Loy, and we just love that movie. So we added that to our Christmas. So there's that. And then a Christmas tradition from when I was a child is a specific kind of Christmas cake from the Corsicana Collins Street Bakery in Corsicana, Texas. And my uncle used to send us one mail order from, he was in Jamaica, and he would send it to our family in northern Saskatchewan, and we would get this box, and we always knew the cake had come. Now my brother, who lives in Australia with his wife and their 3 boys, they now send us a cake from the Collins Street Bakery in Texas. It's sort of this weird triangulation of people and cake that always marks the real kickoff of the season for us when that cake arrives.
And I love how that's kind of continued into adulthood.
My brother picked it up.
Yeah, that's really neat. All right, your favorite Christmas song?
I really like Carol of the Bells. I also really, I like the traditional ones, but I also find, and this is going to age me, but from the 80s there was a band called Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and they did a song called The Power of Love, and the video for that, they had a sort of a depiction of the nativity scene where Mary and Joseph are going across the desert, and that song always now identifies for me as a Christmas carol. That one it was sort of one that I came to, but Carol of the Bells is also another one.
Yeah, that's very good choices indeed. So you may have touched on this in the first question, but I'll ask anyway. Your favorite Christmas movie, if you could just narrow it down to one, if you could only pick one. I mean, it's hard to pick one this time of year.
Oh, I think if I had to pick only one Christmas movie, and that's the only one I could watch, it would be The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's my favorite one.
Mhm. All right, next question. Hot toddy or hot chocolate?
I have to go with hot toddy.
Oh, yeah.
Go with hot toddy.
Can't go wrong there.
You can't. And as I'm Canadian, but I'm not a skier, but I do claim the title in après-ski, so hot toddies feature prominently in that pursuit. Nice roaring fire, big socks, a hot toddy. It's a perfect afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. All right, and last question, white lights or colored lights?
Ooh. Colored lights. I think colored lights. White lights are very, very crisp, but they seem a little cold, and I think that the colored lights just add a sense of warmth and diversity to the whole color scheme. So I think that goes in general. Like I appreciate the aesthetic of monochromatic decoration, but to me, the hodgepodge is kind of what says family. So I like all the colors.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I love both, but I love both for different reasons. You know, white is very classic, and then when you're driving around looking at lights, the colored lights are the attractor. You know, the white lights are gorgeous to look at, but, you know, if you're driving through neighborhoods, the bright colored lights, they draw your attention right away, you know, and they're just beautiful to look at all the way around. This whole time of year is just so magical anyway. From Hallmark movies to Christmas lights, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for your support of all our work. I mean, it really is so meaningful that you take the time to chat with us about what we're doing and to support us in our efforts. It means a lot to know that the long days we spend on set mean something to people out there. So thank you so much for taking an interest and helping us spread the word about things that we create.
Well, you are so very welcome. We're honored to do it, and it's fun to watch. You know, especially when we've talked with you and we were watching Jingle All the Way, and it's a little bit surreal for Pam and I because we go, oh my gosh, we interviewed her, and you've been such a delight to chat with, and at the same time thinking, wow, we're watching her do this, and it's providing great entertainment. It's so family friendly what they do at Hallmark, as we were saying earlier. So thank you for what you do to bring us great entertainment and great content.
Well, thank you.
And I have one last question for you before we let you go. And if you're on social media, would you mind sharing that with our listeners?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I can be found on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook, and the handles are the same for all three. It's at @TheCatLH. Catherine Lough Haggquist is a lot of letters, and they don't always show up in the right order for people, so we've kept it really simple. So TheCatLH, and that's cat with a C. So TheCatLH.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and thank you again for taking the time to chat with us. We really, really appreciate it, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you both, and all the very best to you and yours for 2019. May it be your best year yet.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hey guys, don't leave us yet. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Christmas Movies. That's XMASMUVIES. And also like our Facebook page at Christmas MuVies Spotlight. Don't forget that's spelled MUVIES. And follow us on Instagram at Christmas MuVies Spotlight.
And don't forget to check out our website, ChristmasMuviesSpotlight.com. That's movies with MUVIES. ChristmasMuviesSpotlight.com.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.